Hydroflux Redefining Your Lifestyle presents the return of the Singapore Parenting Festival. Join our amazing hosts in a series of 8 free webinars that cover fertility and pregnancy concerns, parenting tips for newborns to fussy eaters, living with COVID and vaccinations, and guides from preschool to PSLE. Register now and attend our webinars for your chance to get an exclusive SPF goodie bag while stocks last. The Singapore Parenting Festival is proudly brought to you by MediaCorp and the Asian Parent. Platinum Partner, 100% organic drip chicken essence with cordyceps. Gold Partners, Dumex Dugrow, comprehensive nutrients. Scott's Vitamin C for kids' immunity. Nature One Dairy, your partner in parenthood. PCF Sparkle Tots, we sparkle lives. And the following silver and other partners.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our webinar. You made it here, you logged in, and you're joining us for Help My Child is a Fussy Eater. It's so nice to see you. So many of you already sending messages through our chat function. Hi to everyone sending those messages. We see you loud and clear. Thanks for making the time to be a part of the Singapore Parenting Festival, proudly brought to you by the Asian Parent and MediaCorp. Big thanks going out, of course, to our platinum partners, that's Hydroflux, Repurposing, as well as our gold partners, Dumex, Scott's, PCF Sparkle Tots, as well as Nature One Dairy. Hello as well to our silver partners, the Ministry of Health Singapore, Baby Dove, Virtus Fertility Center, and Prudential. And thank you to our content partners, Center for Fathering, Mums for Life and Dads for Life, as well as Baby Pass and Families for Life. Today, join us as we bring you some exciting contests, some great prizes coming your way, as well as this informative webinar and a grand sale as well. More details on that still to come. But today, it's all about that situation where you parents are banging your head against the wall. And it's all about making sure that your child is, has a nutritious diet and lifestyle. You want them to grow up healthy and well, but help. My child is a fussy eater. Well, help is at hand. Before we dive into the seminar and hear, of course, from our speakers, just a little bit of housekeeping to check in on all the guidelines for today so you know what's happening. First off, don't worry, you're automatically muted, so we can't hear the kids running around in the background or the dog barking and things like that. And questions are, of course, welcome. But all you have to do is send them through the Q&A function instead of the chat function. So don't click on the chat function to send questions. Look for the one at the bottom of your screen that says Q&A. Submit all your questions in that box. That helps streamline everything. And we'll attend to the Q&As at the end of this session through the Q&A tab. Now, our webinar is being recorded, but don't worry, we're not recording you. We're not going to see you, so don't worry there. And of course, 6 lucky attendees are going to walk away with $50 Shopee vouchers each. And the winners, I'll tell you how you can be one of the 6 winners, and we'll announce the winners at the very end of today's webinar. So good luck, keeping my fingers crossed for 6 lucky webinar attendees to walk away with that $50 Shopee voucher. Now, of course, if you want to win that voucher, all you got to do is scan this QR code. And or rather, sorry, that's not for the $50 Shopee voucher. I'll retract that statement. This is for the goodie bag. Just like when you attend a regular seminar in pre-COVID times, remember those? We loved giving you some wonderful goodie bags, and we want to do that here as well. So if you want to walk away with a goodie bag, just scan this QR code, and the first 150 will receive a goodie bag. Don't worry, I know you're fumbling around for your phone now, trying to do it. I'm going to flash up the QR code again later in the seminar, so you'll have another chance. Now, before we dive into Help My Child is a Fussy Eater, here's a short clip from Families for Life. That's right. As you saw there, the 6th edition of I Still Do by Families for Life is back. It's got exciting programs, and it's all about encouraging married couples to reaffirm their commitment to each other. It's a month-long campaign. It kicked off Valentine's Day. How appropriate, right? And it runs all the way till the 13th of March and invites all of you soon-to-wed and married couples to celebrate your dedication in nurturing a long-lasting and harmonious marriage. And it's done through a series of online activities. Couples, you can look out for fun ways to strengthen your bonds. You can also create some unique and fun Wi-Fi's with FFL's exclusive I Still Do themed Instagram filter. So go try it out. How do you get in touch and find out more about that? Well, follow Families for Life's Instagram page to learn more. Search for the Instagram filter FFL Moments of Love under browse effects. When you go into effects in your Instagram app, right? Just search for FFL Moments of Life on your Instagram stories, yeah? And then you can participate in the Instagram contest. Don't forget to follow Families for Life's Facebook page at familiesforlife.sg to learn more and to participate in the Facebook contest to win attractive prizes. Good luck to the soon-to-be weds and the married couples as well. Well, once again, welcome everybody to our webinar as part of the Singapore Parenting Festival. I'm Daniel Martin, and I'm a presenter over at CNA 938. I host Life and Style from 2 to 5 p.m. every single day, which includes shows like Tech Talk, Trending, and of course, Health Matters, zooming in on all your health needs. And of course, you can catch up with previous editions of Body and Soul on Me Watch Anytime on Channel 5. Welcoming, of course, our first panelist joining us to help us get through to those fussy eaters. Jaclyn Reutens is a clinical and sports dietitian from Aptima Nutrition. I've had the opportunity to interview her many times on my radio shows. I can't wait for Jaclyn to give you the advice that you need. We're going to have a great chat just ahead, and she's got some great recipes and tips and ideas that are really going to make a difference for you. So I can't wait for you to meet her. And we're also joined by TCM expert, physician Eric from余仁生, Singapore. He's going to be joining in the panel to take your questions on any concerns you might have as to how TCM could possibly help with your fussy eating child. So I'm looking forward to see how he can weave that in and how it's all going to be part of a holistic look at helping you, the busy parent, work with your child to get them a nutritious and healthy diet and lifestyle. And a quick reminder, anytime you have any questions throughout the entire webinar, submit them through the Q&A function. Click on the Q&A button and submit them there. It's right at the bottom of your Zoom screen. Now, before we get started with the actual presentation by Jaclyn, I want to get to know everybody a little bit better. What kind of fussy eaters are we dealing with? What kind of parents of children are we dealing with? Let's talk about what age your child starts being a fussy eater from your own personal experience. So the poll has been launched right now. I'd love it if each of you could click one of those. And what age did your child really start being a fussy eater? Was it 1 to 3 years old? Was it 4 to 7 years old? Or was it 8 years old and above? Go ahead and select one of those. I'd love to get a better idea of the situations that you all have been dealing with. Jaclyn, before we dive into the seminar, I mean, in your experience, does this happen a lot? Do a lot of parents come up to you and say, you know, help, I've got a fussy eater, what do I do?
It's very common, Daniel. And I mean, as parents, we want to give the best to our children. So when the kids don't eat well, they worry about growth and development. So it's a very common problem, and you know, the maternal and the paternal instinct that kicks in. So any age group, the minute they start eating, this can actually start.
Exactly. And Eric, I mean, do you have a lot of concerned parents coming by to the TCM physician area and just saying like, you know, I mean, I need some extra help. I need some guidance here. Is it a common question you hear?
Yes, because for small children, eating is definitely a problem. It's not like us. We eat whatever we like. To us, eating is heaven. Yes. So a lot of eating issues with the children and young children and babies as well.
Yes, it can go so young, can't it? Well, thank you all for voting into the poll. Let's see how the results are. Let's see. Ooh, wow, look at that. 75% of you say your child started being a fussy eater from 1 to 3 years old. So the majority there. 22% say it was about 4 to 7 years old, and about 3% of you saying it was 8 years old and above. So that's great. We now have a better picture and idea of, in particular, it was the 1 to 3 years period that was the most challenging for a lot of you, the parents. Great. Thank you so much for submitting that. Now we know you a lot better and who we're talking to. Let's dive straight into the webinar, everybody. Jaclyn Reutens, dietitian from Aptima Nutrition, is here to help you deal with that fussy eating for your child. Jaclyn, where do we start?
Well, we have quite a bit to get through, and I hope to share with all our listeners today, how to deal with your child who's a very fussy eater. It's a very common concern, and thank you for sharing your eating with us. So I'm just going to get straight into it. Okay, so first of all, when your child starts to eat, you're thinking, okay, they like this, they don't like this. Where do I really start to worry? So there's two kinds of eaters. One is what we call the problem feeders, which these are children who are very selective about what they eat. They have a degree of what we would call food neophobia. Neophobia means the fear of trying something new, and in this case, trying a new food. So it generally means that they are just totally reluctant about what to eat. This could be something to do with color or texture or certain taste. That means if they look at it, they go like, no, I just will not touch that at all. I mean, to a certain degree, this could be part of like a psychological problem. But don't worry, parents. If your child simply refuses to eat and they're not making weight, they're not growing as well, that's when you probably would tell your pediatrician. He will ask you some questions, he'll assess it, and he'll decide whether or not your child needs further cognitive behavior treatment. But generally, most of us here today, we have our fussy eaters. So fussy eaters, on the other hand, they will reject foods one day. They'll be like, no, I will not eat this for the rest of my life. They've decided. But the next day, suddenly they're like, oh, this isn't too bad. So whenever your child says they do not want to eat something, just wait. Give it a couple of days. And in fact, we actually do say that children need to be exposed to a certain food about 10 to even 20 times. Now, parents are like, what? Are you kidding me? Do you have the time? Yeah, that's where the patience really kicks in.
You mean they might have to see it and decline it 10 to 20 times before one day saying okay to it?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah,
wow.
it can be like that for certain foods. So that's when hopefully after today's tips, I can give you some encouragement that it may not be 10 or 20 times. Hopefully it's going to be less.
Yes.
Okay, so what are the some of the tips and ways to cope with fussy eaters? And I hope to give you something new. I'm sure a lot of parents have already Googled the internet, thinking how to help my child eat better, and you've probably looked at all the lists. So I hope that today I can share with you something new. Okay, so before we dive in, the first thing that you have to understand is that children are just little adults. So eating is highly psychological, like how it is for you and me. So your child is exactly the same as well. So understanding your little ones better, understanding how they think, is going to help to reduce the tension that you're currently having at every single meal time for some of you.
Yeah, after a long day at work, if you put like a cold, mushy dish in front of me, I'm not going to enjoy it. I'm not going to have a good time having that. Likewise for little kids.
Yeah, exactly. So understanding what goes through their mind makes it a bit easier for everyone. So just, so toddlers anywhere between, and some of you said your kids started having this problem when they're like 1 to 3 years old. They need about 1,000 to 1,300 calories a day. And of course, as you get older, the calorie intake does go up. Now, I don't need you to count calories, parents. Don't worry. Everybody's going like, oh my God, she's going to make me count calories.
We can barely count our own calories, Jaclyn.
Yeah. So you don't even need to do that. But just know that they may not eat this amount every single day, and that's perfectly fine. So some days they're going to eat a lot more, and some days they're going to eat a lot less. So we look at what they've eaten over and averagely over a week. So some days they'll eat the vegetables, some days they will totally just deny it completely. Some days they'll eat chicken, some days they won't eat any meat at all. Don't worry. Toddlers like to binge on the foods one at a time. For example, they give them like sometimes even rice. And I've seen kids like devour 2 bowls of rice with nothing at all. They just have it with water. And parents like, oh my God, they didn't get that protein, they didn't get this and that. I'm like, but did they eat yogurt after that? Oh yeah, they did. Oh, okay, so that's not so bad.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it's a balancing act in a way. I mean, because I know some parents feel very obsessed about making sure that every single meal has some kind of nutritious component to it. But if it doesn't, if they eat that 2 bowls of rice with soy sauce, we can find other ways in other meals to balance it out, is what you're saying.
Definitely. You should present it with a balanced meal. But if they choose to eat only one component of that meal, don't worry. Just try and think about what they've eaten for the entire day. And then maybe the next 2 days as well, just to average it out. So that takes also the tension off. And you're not being a bad parent if your child didn't eat that chicken or that fish. Because a lot of parents feel bad. They'll be like, oh no, I didn't do my job. And then they will force feed their kids. So again, we're going to talk a bit about that the force feeding.
The force feeding. I'm very familiar with the force feeding. Yes, yes.
I think we kind of grew up with that.
Yes.
And I think parents today, I hope that after today's session, I want you to learn to have fun with your kids. You know, whatever mealtime battles that you had in the past, try and after today's session, throw it all away and start to have fun with them, because it's bonding time. Meal times are bonding time. Everyone comes home after a long day of work. Your child hasn't seen you all day. The last thing they want is to sit in front of you and they argue. So expect your child to eat well one day and the next day eat probably half the amount. And as I said, assess your child's intake over the week rather than daily. So what are some things that you can actually do? So I'm sure in your pantry somewhere, you're going to have some muffin trays because we start baking for our kids already, or some ice cube trays. They can put little bite-sized portions of colorful foods, nutritious. It can be nutritious foods as well. It can be even things like maybe like a piece of bread, like cheese, carrot sticks. You know, just find little foods that you want them to sample, and play around with textures as well. It doesn't always have to be crunchy. It can be something soft and mushy like bananas. So getting all their senses involved in this, especially when they start eating from the age of 1 year old, get them to touch and feel and smell. Talk to them about food. Talk to them, give them interesting names. You know, what is their favorite cartoon character at the moment? Is it Coco Melon carrots, or is it like, I don't know, Superman spinach, or come up with some fun names for them. And you can play with them too. You can count. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 here. And then if I take one out, how many is left? And you know, you have to play with your voice modulation.
No, but I love the idea of a nibble tray. And I see so many of our viewers love it as well. They're saying nibble tray looks like a novel idea. This looks good. Yes, it's such a simple idea. It makes it a bit more fun. It's a bento kind of style, and they can get a little creative with it. I mean, they can use their hands. They can try it out for themselves. It can be fun to eat this way.
Exactly, and get to smell the foods, taste it. You could take one, two. They can take one, two. You can cheers with it. You know, have fun with it, and you can do this maybe 2, 3 times a week. So they look forward to it. So don't do it every day as well. You know, try different things. But kids love colors. They love colors. They love textures. And give it in small portions. Don't give it a huge mountain of food, because that does put them off as well. So that's why we call it a nibble tray.
Is this like a meal, or is this like a snack?
It's like a snack. It's to
like
introduce
okay.
new foods to them.
Ah, okay. Great tip.
You can even put bits of cut chicken as well. You know, you can even like season it too. It can be meat. It can be anything you want. You open your pantry, open your fridge, you know, take something out and dump it into the trays.
Great.
Yes. Okay, so something else you can try and do, maybe some of you have already tried this, is to mix foods that they like and foods that they are going to try, something that's new to them. So this helps with broadening your toddler's menu. Some things that I like is actually things like yogurt, because yogurt is high in protein, high in calcium, and it pairs well with lots of fruits. It can also pair well with some vegetables too, you know, like carrot sticks, or even like boiled zucchini sticks if you think that the hard zucchini sticks are a bit crisp, a bit too hard for them. So yogurt is a nice topping. You can even choose fruit yogurt. So parents, don't worry about this added sugar thing, because it's just a topping only. If it's going to get them to try something new, it's perfectly okay. I like cream cheese. I mean, parents, you know, some of your children just don't like to eat wholemeal bread, right? Because it's too mealy. They don't like the texture and the grains. They look at white and brown bread. It's not about the color that puts them off, but when they put the wholemeal bread into their mouth, they're like, what's this really texture? They just like spit it out. So if you put cream cheese, which is something that's easy to make the bread moist, this is a way to introduce these kind of grainy foods to them.
Right. So again, this is a nice tip to introduce new foods to your kids, to get them just to try it out for the first time.
Yeah.
Okay. Use a topping option.
A topping option, yeah. Blueberries is something that kids like to hold, because they can pick it with their fingertips, they can nibble on it, it's sweet. So you can mix it with other fruits they're trying to introduce them to. It's very common that some kids, they only like to eat 1 or 2 kinds of fruit. They'll eat only oranges or only apples. And when they see other fruits, we think it's so nutritious and it's colorful, but some kids just like, what's that new thing? So if you put something that they're familiar with and mix it into like a fruit salad bowl and get them to use their fingers to pick it up, you take one. So mix old and new foods together for them. All right. So how your child eats also depends on how you cut it. So I mentioned something about portion sizes. If the food comes in like a very big lump, like you give them a big square sandwich that we eat, they're going to be like, that looks, what is that? That's so boring. But if you go to Daiso, you know, $2, you can get like 5 cookie cutters. It sounds like a lot of work, but it really isn't, because if you're already going to give them sandwiches or pancakes, just cut it up, and then just again play with them. Say, oh, what animal is this, or what shape is this? You can use sandwiches, and with sandwiches you can stuff in different fillings. You can put it even like tuna. Tuna is something that a lot of children don't like, although it's very nutritious, high in lean protein, but the smell can get to them as well. So you put it between a sandwich, maybe you can mask it with even like some butter or some margarine, and put it into different cutters, and then just take one and you take a bite. Waffles is a nice way of introducing some fruits. Although I said some kids like blueberries, some kids will not eat blueberries. Things like strawberries, which is very high in vitamin C. Pizzas, you get them to, you make pizzas with them, and then you can cut into different shapes using the cookie cutters. And then that's where they go like, oh, this is quite fun, isn't it? It's got a funny face and it's got a funny shape. And
I love this, Jaclyn. It's so sneaky. We're like we're fooling them with the shapes and the sizes and the playtime, but actually they're eating and trying the new food, and they're getting over whatever food apprehensions they might have.
Exactly. And I mean, some parents will be going like, I think I tried this already, didn't work. Try again.
Try again.
Different toppings. Try and just talk to them differently, because as we see kids behaviors, they go through changes, meaning that they don't behave the same way every single time when you introduce a certain food to them, because they are like us too. We are emotional sometimes. Some days we're in the mood for this, some days we're not in the mood for that. That's why I say keep trying. Maybe it caught them on a bad day. They are like us too. We got good days and we got bad days. So don't give up if one doesn't work.
Don't give up. Try again. Keep trying. I love it. Great idea. And share the experience with your child. You're saying share it as well.
Share it with them. That's why I said this whole session is about bonding with your child so that they enjoy eating and that you enjoy feeding them too, instead of it being currently probably a battle zone now. Some other tip I tell my parents to do is that so now these days we have play dates. Now I think we are getting to have like more people to interact with each other. If you know of a child who can eat quite well, tell a parent, can you come over for play dates? Play dates are like 1 to 2 hours, portion out like 15 to 30 minutes to eat, and then get the other child to eat this food that you're trying to get a child to eat. More than likely, your child will eat the same food because they want to mimic the friend, and they want to share the food too. So it can work. So when you get your child of a similar age to eat with your child, or of course if you have older siblings who eat quite well, they will follow through. I mean, parents, you're supposed to be the role model. I think you've all tried that already. And group feeding helps let the other kids set the example. That's why in schools, obviously the children eat together. At home, maybe today they didn't like chicken cooked this way, but the next day the school happened to feed it, and the night they came back, they're like, hey, how come they're eating it today? Because they've seen someone eat it. So don't underestimate the value of eating with other children.
Wow, the group feeding approach. You're right. That's such a great. So if your child is always getting invited to play dates, you know that you don't have a fussy eater. Like other parents want that child there. I got it. That's good.
Okay. And this is the other thing too. Respect tiny tummies. They are little humans. Their stomach is only this size. You can expect them to eat a lot, especially when they're trying something new. My suggestion is to serve small portions first. Small portions means something like 1 tablespoon or 2 tablespoons at a time. You can have a tiny little plate, put 1 small portion of that food on the plate, and let your child try it. And as you're feeding your child, just say, what is this? This is yummy. Or, like bring their stuffed toy. This teddy bear likes to eat it. So make sure that, okay, once a child happens to try it, maybe they're like grimacing a little bit, you can ask them, do you want some more? If they go, no, respect it and say, okay, that's fine, and then leave it. Don't force them to eat it, because it shows that when they said no, you say, okay, so they don't think that, oh, if I said no, mommy's going to still force me. They know that you respect them. And that makes, again, the mealtime a bit more enjoyable, because parents, you can try it again tomorrow or 3 days later in a slightly bigger portion. So don't rush. Less is more, especially when it comes to new foods. It works better with fussy eaters, and it helps to also stabilize their blood sugar levels too, because you don't want a big swing. Like how we get big swings, we get moody, right? And then when the sugar levels drop, we get all up and down. So kids are exactly the same too.
Tiny tummies. Let's respect that and keep them sitting still. Really?
Yes, you keep them sitting still. So a lot of us have used our toddlers sit in the high chairs, and I mean that is fun. But try and get high chairs with something for the foot to actually be firm on, because if their legs tend to dangle, they're busy trying to touch something or to get some stability that they don't really look at the food that they're eating, and they're just playing, you see. Whereas if you get them to sit on a stool or get a little like footrest for them, they can focus more on the food that's in front of them, because that's all they need to do. They only need to just eat. Whereas they think about dangling their feet, running around, and then eating at the same time, so they are already distracted. So if you look at how your child, where your child is seated right now, there's nothing for them to put their foot on. Try to find something, just prop up their feet. It actually does work.
That is so practical, everybody. These are such useful tips. I hope you're loving it. I can see the comments that all of you are really enjoying this and even talking about what your children are experiencing. We've got more great tips and even recipes coming up for you next as well. Stay tuned. Jaclyn, what do we have next?
So again, kind of inconsistencies. Your child may eat a lot the next day and nothing the next. They like one food and not. So I think you get the idea when I said that you don't have to worry about, they don't eat their 2 servings of fruit and vegetables every single day. You try your best to do it, but if they don't worry about it. And most importantly, try to make mealtime a very relaxed atmosphere, because you want it to be fun and it's supposed to be bonding. Okay, so but then you tell me, okay, look, Jaclyn, if the child simply refuses, what do I actually do? Okay, so if you tried something, your child goes, no, fine. Just take it away calmly. I know it's really hard, parents. You're like, oh, you're so frustrated because you spent all this time preparing it and they don't want to. Just stay calm, remove it away, because you want them to know that when they say no, you respect it. But the next time they may choose to say yes, because they are in the mood to say yes, right? Because we can't really read the child's mind. The next day they could still say yes. So don't think that they will always say no. Secondly, don't leave meals until your child is too hungry, because you know the hangry feeling that we get, so do they. So parents, you need to sort of like plan the meal times, and this is in your hands. Parents control what time they eat. Parents control what they eat, but your child decides how much they eat. So remember this: when parents plan the meal timings accurately, your child should be hungry almost at the right time, and they should be hungry enough to be able to maybe to try something new, and not too hungry that they refuse to try anything at all. So parents, you're in charge of that. So I normally recommend to have 3 meals, so a breakfast, lunch, dinner, and in between each main meal, you give a child a small snack. A small snack can be anything from like a yogurt, maybe have a sandwich, some fruit, some biscuits, a muffin, maybe a nourishing beverage like milk, 100% fruit juice. So do some planning, parents, because that's totally in your control. And try not to do this. I know a lot of us are guilty about this, is try not to use food as a reward. Don't say, eat your vegetables and then you'll get your dessert. Because what you're trying to tell the child is that, oh, if like vegetables are nasty, but the sweets are good stuff. So try to reward them instead, like going to the park, promise to play a game with them, and try not to tell them you buy them toys, because you're going to burn a hole in your pocket. So again, find something that bonds you and your child together.
Don't use food as a reward or punishment. Don't paint it in a bad light. Such a good idea. And I love that tip about splitting it to breakfast, lunch, dinner with 2 meals in between, because if they carry on this tradition or this practice into their adulthood, that's a good way for us to eat, to maintain weight, and to give a good, healthy lifestyle for adults as well. 3 main meals and 2 snacks in between. So we're giving them some great foundation. Great ideas. What else we got?
Okay, so just the summary, make meal times fun, provide a variety of healthy and nutritious foods, and don't expect them to try everything new. Allow your toddler enough time to identify when there's enough food. Okay, so parents, just have fun with your kids, and then it's a learning process for the 2 of you. So a bit about immunity. Some kids just like, look, they just completely refuse to eat, and now we're worried because of the pandemic. Are they getting enough vitamin C for the immunity? So foods that are high in vitamin C are like your oranges, your strawberries, broccoli, tomatoes. Vitamin C is important for many vital functions. And if your child isn't eating enough of these foods, you can give them a supplement. Okay, you can give them, they have a liquid version, and they also have the gummy version. So make sure that they can chew well enough, but you can supplement your child. You feel that, look, they're really not eating their fruits at all. For the entire week, no fruits. Okay, please go ahead with the supplements. So some recipes that I really like are, I love pizzas, because you can be so creative. You go to Pinterest, there are like 1,000 pizzas that you can make. You can print it out and tell your child, let's do this. And then the ingredients are so obvious, right? You can see a capsicum, you can see blueberries, you can see even salami. There's nothing wrong with salami once in a while. It's got cheese, broccoli, carrots. You can just recreate this to your own style. Even if it
I'm
doesn't
getting
make sense on the
so
pizza.
hungry right now, Jaclyn. This is such a bad idea for me to skip dinner to host this event. But I saw somebody, one of our viewers, posting about using pizza for their kid as well and trying to be creative about it. How can we be creative with an apple muffin recipe as well?
Yeah, apple muffin. No, why I like recipes, it can be any recipe. It can even be a chocolate muffin, because kids love to, like, get them to add in the stuff, or you bring them shopping in the supermarket, get them to say, okay, you pour this and you pour this and you mix this. Kids love to beat eggs. Let them get it on the floor on themselves. It doesn't matter. Laugh about it. Get them to spoon it into the muffin tray. When you bake it, the whole house is wafting this baked goods, and everyone's like, wow! And then they can make it fun. You know, kids become like cartoon artists after a while. You know, you're just, but then it's fun. You know,
But you're showing them the
moment.
process of how food doesn't just magically appear on their table. They see the process of creating it, of smelling it. It's multisensorial in that sense as well.
Absolutely, multisensorial, yes. And one of the simple recipes that I like, and kids can even bring this to school, their school is already of a school-going age, roll-ups. You can put anything, they can put peanut butter, cream cheese. You basically take a flat bread, you put whatever filling you have, you just roll it up and you slice it. I mean, Daniel, how difficult can that be? That's
actually very smart. And again, the look, the design, the feeling of it just adds something to the experience, maybe.
Yes, yeah. And the last recipe that I have here is just a cream cheese strawberry tortilla roll up. So this tortilla can use sandwiches. I think pizza is a bit thick, but tortillas can also be used as your pizza base too. So, you know, again, this is just a cream cheese with fruit and strawberry. So 3 nutritious foods in just one roll up.
It doesn't just have to be savory, right? You think of a roll up as savory sometimes, but you can make them like lovely and sweet and desserty and fruity here as well.
Exactly. Yes.
Love it.
Yeah, so parents, please enjoy making food with your kids. Bring them to the supermarket, bring them to shop, talk about them, talk about the different colors and smells. So thank you so much for listening, and I've given you some new tips that you haven't already tried. I just want you to have fun with your children eating.
No, that was great. I wish we could applaud in the seminar room. I'm seeing that so many people saying good idea. Muhammad Rafi says cooking is a life skill after all. Somebody says looks so yummy and interesting recipes. Pearly says she's going to try it as well. And David says, yes, it's yummy and not too hard to follow the recipe too. I agree with everyone. Simple. Well, I did see somebody else post, but the kitchen is going to be very messy after that. Yes, once in a while it will get messy, but get the kid involved in cleaning up as well. It's also a life skill, right? To learn how to clean up after themselves. Maybe a little bit there as well. Thank you so much, Jaclyn. We're going to, of course, hear more from you in a bit with our Q&A segment, but I want to bring Eric, our TCM expert, into the discussion as well, because if we're looking for a very holistic approach towards dealing with our fussy eaters, Eric, what should we start bearing in mind? Yes, indeed. So, Eric, from a TCM perspective, why does a child or a baby refuse to eat and become a fussy eater?
Hi, Daniel. Sometimes the baby, young children, when they refuse to eat, there could be issue with the digestive system. So in traditional Chinese medicine, this is the one, the spleen. The spleen controls, the spleen in traditional Chinese medicine is not the spleen in the Western. It generally refers to the whole digestive system. Yes, so there's some problem with the digestion. It could be like, let's say if it's constipation, it's the stagnation of qi. Not enough qi in the spleen, because spleen produces qi. This qi pushes the food out, and if what they eat get stagnated in the guts, it's not pushed outwards, so it may lead to constipation and the accumulation of gas, air in the stomach. And also in some cases, it is like, let's say you're looking at if you look at the stools, sometimes you get loose stools or those mushy stools that's not firm. I think could be due to the also the weakness of the spleen in the absorption of the food they eat. Yes, so this retain as the dampness, and this dampness causes all these diarrhea symptoms or these phlegm symptoms, and sometimes it may also, the phlegm doesn't only just stay in the stomach, in the stools. Sometimes it may be like the baby feel like a bit nauseous, and this is also a form of phlegm that gets stuck in the chest area, which them feel discomfort, and they don't, which may lead to some drop in appetite, or the young children refuse to eat.
How interesting to get this perspective, to have this holistic approach. So that's the traditional Chinese medicine approach as to why it might be happening for your child. What can we do about it to improve the appetite of our young children then from the TCM perspective, since these might be behind the scenes?
Yes. Then we have mild herbs, and these herbs come from a traditional classic formula. It's passed down from one generation, recorded in the ancient medical records of the traditional Chinese medicine. So we have herbs like Poria, Fuling, Chinese yam, Sanyao. Then we also have Zixiao, and also lotus seed, Lianzi. All these will help to improve the qi in the spleen and help to regulate the flow of qi around the digestive area so that it makes the children less bloated.
So maybe we can try and find a way to integrate some of this into the food that we're preparing for them. Is it? I mean, this is safe for kids to consume. It can be used in the cooking, right?
Yes, actually, this formula is widely known. It's very popular in Singapore. So you can find it in most modern traditional Chinese medicine establishment. Some even they make it into a paste form, easy for consumption, and powdered form, which can be added to beverages, which is easier and simplified form for the young children to eat.
Okay, but always let your TCM physician know that this is for young children as well, and that they can recommend what will be very suitable in that case. That sounds good. Now, of course, like Jaclyn talked about in terms of the vitamin C and the immunity, that's a big concern for so many parents right now. What with the current pandemic situation after all, what are some of the nutritional boosts that you could recommend for young children from the TCM physician world?
Yes, and then this for young children, we actually don't recommend too much of a strong tonic or boost. So usually we go for the food items, which is milder and is widely acceptable. So we have bird nest is also good for children. It helps to improve the complexion, also build up immunity, and especially during this period. So bird nest can be taken like from actually 6 months old onwards, and after when they are able to swallow. If sometimes children may not take it well, we dilute it. So you generally for 6 months older and above, we take about 1 to 2 times a week. But for those, let's say if your kids gets older, like 1 year old to 3 years old, we can actually increase it. Increase about previously we say 1 teaspoon, now it's 1 tablespoon.
Got it. Hang on, I'll just cut in for a second. I think somebody's unmuted themselves and we can hear your audio. So just double check everybody that you're on mute, okay? Most of you will be on mute, but I think somebody might have just accidentally done that. But thanks very much. I think you've muted yourself right now. Eric, so we know what's good and what are good ideas and options that can be explored with your TCM physician. What though, on the flip side, what it should be not encouraged for children who are too young, you know?
Especially for children who is too young, we don't go for strong tonics, like let's say, if you're going to say ginseng, all those, these are not so good. I mean, not saying not so good. It's not so good at a young age because all the organs are not developed yet. They are still at the premature stage. So taking too much, they may not be able to absorb and use it effectively. So we always turn to food items such as like we have chicken essence, all this which is very good for the development of the brain and also help to keep the children alert. And because sometimes they may look tired or refuse to study or don't have the energy, this may help. So for chicken essence, usually we go for those, the amount to take is definitely like herbs or any traditional Chinese medicine. You don't take the adult dosage. We always go for reduced one. So in general, it's about 1/3 to half that of an adult, depending on the age. So you can take it from 2 years old onwards, because too young is still not so advisable as well. So from 2 years old onwards, you can take those chicken essence. We also have chicken essence. I think recently in the market, there's also a lot of drip chicken essence, which provides even higher protein for the growth and development.
Fantastic ideas and opportunities for a holistic approach towards your fussy eaters. I see a lot of people asking, a list of some of the herbs that you mentioned earlier on. Alvin tried to summarize for everybody. Thanks, Alvin, for sending your list. You said fulin, Chinese yam, sanya, chi xiao, and lotus seed. Anything else that they're missing from that list that you mentioned, Eric? Is that the correct one?
Yes, it's correct. Sometimes they may modify a bit on this formula. They add in like what's that? Barley, Chinese barley. This also help to improve the spleen. Sometimes it reduce those water retention issues of the children, or help to calm, because sometimes because of the heaty nature of the body, so babies tend to get heated. The body tends to get heated up more easily. So sometimes a bit of this barley may help to reduce this heat. At the same time, improves the spleen. And at the same time, if let's say your baby or your children always got this ulcer problem, mouth ulcer problem, you can go for like green bean or this, because it is generally due to the heatiness of the stomach. We say because the heat from the stomach tends to go up to the throat area and cause mouth ulcer and all these issues, which sometimes may also cause the children to not eat because it's painful for them to eat. So sometimes like a green bean soup, all this is good to clear away this heatiness in the body.
Wow, that is so unique and so interesting. Thanks so much, Eric, for weaving that in and helping us paint that picture, a real holistic approach towards dealing with your fussy eaters. Let's open the floor to our questions, because I can see the chat screen is moving so quickly and the Q&A screen is moving so quickly. So Jaclyn, Eric, and myself want to take as many of your questions as possible. I hope you're enjoying the webinar so far, everybody. Thanks for being a part of the Singapore Parenting Festival with me, Daniel Martin, and my guest, Jaclyn Reutens, a clinical and sports dietitian, and Eric, our TCM expert from余仁生, Singapore. I think you're enjoying it. I really do. I'm seeing everybody, wonderful questions and comments coming through. Let's jump into the Q&A segment. Remember, if you want to ask a question, don't submit it through the chat function. Instead, submit it through the Q&A function. There's a button at the bottom right. There's one for chat and there's one for Q&A. I'm looking at mine right now. So click on the Q&A one and then you submit it there, and we'll try and answer as many as possible right now. Okay, let's go to Kimberly's question. Kimberly, hello to you. You say this is really good topics, and I would love to know how to ensure that my kids get the needed nutrition when they are picky, especially when it comes to vegetables. Yes. Okay, that is the perennial situation. Is it veggies, veggies, veggies? Jaclyn, what do we do if your child is so picky and just hates the veggies?
Okay, so one thing you can do is you can mix it up with the foods that they do like. You know, if they like rice or noodles, try different vegetables. It's not just carrots and broccoli and spinach. There's other vegetables too, like maybe capsicum, tomatoes, cucumber. You never know. Some kids' taste buds are just so different, you know. So for example, like for leafy vegetables, what I do find is that it tends to have a metallic taste on their mouth. So when kids eat it, they're like, what's this new taste, and tastes a bit weird, and that's why they actually spit it out. So it's actually real. There's a real metallic taste because their tongue is like new, right? It's like a virgin tongue, and they do not know what this taste is. So obviously the first thing they do is just to like throw it out. But subsequently, when you maybe mix it in with maybe like a cheese sauce or maybe like a tomato sauce, if your child likes tomato sauce, yes, I know people are saying, but it's high sugar, high salt. Look, a little drizzle of it isn't going to hurt. You can mix it in just to get them to know that when this piece of food goes into my mouth, it's not so bad. So it's like a psychological barrier that you get past, and that they can actually eat it first, and then together with something that tastes good. Then later on, they'll be thinking, oh, I tried this before, it tasted not bad. You can put it on its own next time. So that's why I keep saying they need to be exposed to certain foods many times. In the past, we used to say like grate the vegetables so that maybe you hide it inside. But we're moving away from that kind of teaching, because we want kids to know the food that they're eating. We don't want to hide it from them. We want them to like fruits and vegetables. We don't want to hide it from them. So again, keep trying, grate it, cook it differently, mix it with different foods.
I saw this great video once about, I love watching the Japanese videos about how moms prepare meals for their kids, and they're so creative with it. One of it was a bento style, like what you discussed earlier on, but they used the little broccoli to make trees and made it look like little trees in a little scenery setting and in a bed of mashed potato or something like that. They was like, oh, I'm eating the tree, that kind of stuff. Again, we can try and employ some of the tips you made earlier on to try and make it fun as well. That's so interesting. Nisa, I see your question. This one is a good one. Nisa says, my kid is 20 months old. Meal durations. We haven't talked about that yet. Meal duration should be, you think, 30 to 45 minutes, but she often stops and refuses to eat in 10 to 15 minutes. She doesn't want it anymore if I offer it to her again. Can I give a biscuit or milk or puree pocket in mealtime to change the food which she doesn't want to eat? Okay, I get it. So mealtime is the problem. And then if it goes on too long, she's not going to eat the same food that's been there for like 30 minutes already. And so mom has no choice but to offer something else to just make sure that she eats something. Let's talk about durations. What's the rule of thumb, Jaclyn, for mealtime duration?
No more than 30 minutes. Try not to. Some kids can eat in 20 minutes, some kids 15 minutes. You know how sometimes we put like the stopwatch and they say, okay, you got to eat before this time. I find that's a bit pressurizing. It does work for some children because then they like to compete with the clock. Then it's a different, they could be in the mood some days to compete with the clock, some days they're not in the mood. I wouldn't try and give them something else if they have refused a certain food, because we don't want to be a short order cook. You know, you're going to make your life very difficult. And your child knows, I just have to refuse this. I'm going to get my favorite food in like, they have no concept of time, right? But they know that if they refuse this food, they're going to get something that they really like a bit later on. So I would actually persist in giving them what you're currently feeding them. And if you find that they keep rejecting a certain food, again, change the, if they don't like rice, try noodles, try pasta, try a different type of a starch, try a different type of a protein. And then, but you can try the food again, maybe the following week again. And I said to you, stay calm, you know, take the food away quietly. And a hungry child will always look for food. Just remember that no child would voluntarily starve themselves. So later on, if they have missed their lunchtime, too bad, you have to wait till 3 hours later for their snack time. So that's when I say the planned meal timings are important for you, because if they know they skip their lunch, later on they have to eat that snack.
Eric EK has asked a couple of questions, one having to do with the barley point that you raised earlier on, and wants to know, barley from which country, China or Holland, and can you introduce it to baby when they're starting solids as well? Any particular origin for the barley that you suggested earlier on, Eric?
Yes, actually, for barley, usually for those who want to improve the spleen, we tend to go more for the China one, because those are the ones which is bigger, and the effect on the spleen is much better. For those Western one, it tends to be on the cooling side, and it's more on the diuretic. That means helps to clear the heaty of the body. So sometimes when you take barley too much, it may cause a lot of urination. So you have to take note of that when we come to the selection of barley, depending on what kind.
Speaking of the spleen, EK followed up with a question and asks, the spleen issue, does it apply to adults as well?
Yes, adult also. Because sometimes when the spleen is not developed well, or you didn't keep it well, or you injured it through overeating, or those, as you grow older and move into an adult stage, it may bring over. Yes. So in adult, there may be other issues like tiredness, or the low stamina level and low energy level, and sometimes it can be those anemic issues and other issues that progresses.
Okay, and Jessie, hi Jessie, you ask physician Eric, can children drink chrysanthemum tea when they're so young as well? Maybe the 1 to 3 or the 5 to 7 age range as well. I'm thinking that this is probably more of the brewed chrysanthemum tea rather than the packet drink with the sugar added.
Yes, Daniel, you're right. If you're going to say that there's a packet form, it is totally there's no function. There's no point at drinking, just sugar. So for what if we are referring to is the flowers. So generally for children, if let's say it is above 3 years old, sometimes a small amount is okay. What I mean small amount is like 3 to 5 flowers, and usually when you take chrysanthemum tea, you must be like when there's symptoms. You don't take it for fun and for nothing, because sometimes it may be too cooling for the baby, young children, which we do not know. So usually when there's symptoms such as bloodshot eyes, like itchy eyes, you get red eyes, or rashes in the body, and also sometimes the discomfort in the throat. And if let's say there's rashes, we also top up with beans, which or something which help to clear all these heat and heat rashes and all those heatiness in the body. But remember, just take it in moderation. Or if let's say there's you have a certain body condition or health issue, it's better to seek help from a medical help and other help from a traditional Chinese physician for assessment.
I agree 100%. Great questions, everyone. Jaclyn, one of our listeners picking up, or not listeners, see, I think I'm on radio lah, apparently. One of our viewers thinks, picking up on the point that you mentioned earlier on about supplements and supplementing for the young ones. But this person says, my child does not like supplement pills. Can I give them the gummies instead? What do you think?
Yes, of course, you can give them the gummies. Just make sure that they can chew well, and there's also the liquid versions as well. I don't think any child can actually swallow the supplement pills. I don't think at this age it'll be too easy and swallow. But yeah, gummies work fine.
And speaking of supplements, somebody else asked, don't forget to leave your name, everybody, if you want the question addressed to you. I love it. I'd love to say hi to you as well and shout out. But this next person, they haven't left their name, and they asked, what are the key vitamins and minerals that my child will need?
So for growth and development, children need zinc for number one, immunity, and for the hair, their skin, calcium for their bones, and of course iron, for the red blood cell production and giving up oxygen to their brain. So things, so in calcium, you can get them from your milk, cheese, and yogurt. Zinc, you can find them in your beans, in your chicken, in your fish, in tofu as well. And for iron, it's usually in the red meats, or if you're vegetarian, you can find them in the beans, lentils, and dal, and of course your dark green leafy vegetables, which you probably have to try and feed your child a bit harder to get them to like it.
Yes. Meng Chiao asks, my daughter has iron deficiency. Other than iron supplements and the daily and dark green leafy vegetables and red meat, what else could help? Meng Chiao asks.
Okay, so if your child has got iron deficiency and you're already giving her some supplements, you can try and eat red meat like beef, chicken, pork, but to enhance the iron absorption, you can give them the vitamin C supplement. So in this particular case, because your child is, I'm assuming your child's already diagnosed, and she's done blood tests, iron studies to show that she's already anemic, then you can give a vitamin C supplement. But it's also important when you give it, you have to give the supplement together with the meal so that the body can absorb the iron in the food at the same time.
And picking up on the vegetables question, Yan Fen asks, is it all right to keep putting the same vegetable, for example, spinach, in all of his meals since he doesn't like carrot and broccoli? But Yan Fen, the question is, does he eat the spinach? Like, is he okay eating the spinach as well? Is it okay if he only likes one type of vegetable? Can we just keep giving the same type of vegetable?
I think if you give him chai sim, he couldn't tell the difference either because it's leafy vegetables too. So no, yes, he likes spinach by maybe once a week, but try other leafy vegetables. There's a whole array of leafy vegetables. You've got your bok choy, you've got your Swiss chard, you've got what do you call that? Even the wolfberries vegetable. You've got all kinds of leafy vegetables. So try not only spinach, the other vegetables around.
Yes, but if he doesn't like some of the other ones, like the carrots and all that, just like you said, 10, 20 times in some cases, just keep trying.
Keep trying, exactly. Yeah. And have fun with them. So with all the tips, hopefully try and bring them to the supermarket. Get him to say, hey, look at this, look at that, and then bring it home, show him how you're cooking it, get him to wash it even, have him to pluck it out, get them involved.
Sounds good indeed. Picking up on the supplementation and the immunity point as well. Eric, this one's for you. Somebody's asking, for those looking to boost immunity, what would you suggest? Immunity is the name of the game for a lot. I love that we got so many concerned parents. They just want to make sure they have nutritious food for the kids and boost their immunity. And immunity is the most important thing right now as well. From the TCM perspective, what is there to advise?
Daniel, immunity, as I mentioned just now, we can go for the bird nest and for the chicken essence. But let's say you were saying for those with a very weaker body constitution, for those who fall sick easily when the cold wind blow, then you get flu, cough easily. Actually, they can go for a small amount of cordyceps, but in moderation. But this is only for this weaker group of children. For those who is like a normal children or normal development, or can don't fall sick that easily, can able to have just a normal lifestyle. It's not those sickly or those who need to consume a lot of vitamins or those. It's just a normal supplement of chicken essence and bird nest will be good enough.
Cindy asks as well, Eric, what kind of Chinese herbs can be added to soup with carrots and potatoes and corn to boost immunity and appetite. Cindy, you're asking Eric to do recipe for you also. Maybe. Let's see. Eric, any ideas?
Yeah, yes. Actually, just now what I mentioned, I forgot to say that the combination of the formula, the one I say Chinese yam, Korea, and qianshi, and this lotus seed. This is actually a formula. You can use it as a food. It's what we known as, it's known in TCM as a 四神汤. It can be used in a raw herbs form, and some of them in the modern TCM establishment, they also have packed it nicely in a soup pack, which you can use to add in normal meat or chicken, or just a flavor to your food. Yes.
Sounds good. Somebody else wants to know about the minimum age for children to take Chinese herbs, for example, herbal soup. Is there an age that's too young? What's the recommended time to start, let's say?
For those normal herbs, like what I mentioned for the 四神汤, actually, if you're going for those processed or the powdered form, can be as young as 2-3 years old. And if you're going to go for the soup, because they need to be able to chew, swallow by. So generally, it's a higher age group, maybe probably from 3 years old onwards, where they can able to swallow or eat normal solid food. But if you're going to say normal like ginseng or food that boosts the body too much strong, to improve, to promote growth and development, for stronger bones, all this, we will go for generally after puberty. So not too young, because the body cannot accept. No matter how much you throw in, it's like a waste of money.
Good point. I've got time for one last question. Vicky. Hi, Vicky. Thanks for submitting through the Q&A function. Vicky asked, Jaclyn, this one for you. My kid is 1.5 years old. He hates to chew meat or fish, and he keeps spitting it out repeatedly. How do I help? My kid still likes soft foods still.
So your child is still quite young, 1.5 years old. So a lot of these kids just like to mush their foods in the mouth without chewing, maybe because they want to quickly go and play their games. So what I would suggest is maybe to cut it up in different shapes and sizes first. Maybe you try minced versions. If not, you try to let them hold it in their hand. I've noticed that some kids, they don't like the mince, they don't like it small pieces. But actually, when you give a child something to hold in their hand, they will actually bite it because it becomes fun. It's like a biscuit or a cracker. Try different flavors, maybe season it differently. And talk to them about, oh, can you taste that? Can you bite? And then you eat with them. Pick one up and show them that you're biting it, and look like you're having some fun with them. Of course, remove the TV. But I would say try it maybe every other day, maybe once every 3 days, because again, maybe the first time they're like, nah, not going to try to spit it out again. Okay, but if you're concerned about them not getting the nutrients, so chicken and fish, they're protein foods. You can also supplement other protein foods, again, like maybe an egg. And eggs can be cooked so many ways, right? You've got omelets, you've got sunny side up, you can show the yolk or not. So use other protein foods just to make sure that they're getting in their protein. Then you just work on getting them to get used to the textures, because after all, they're going to have to eat meat at some point in time. Because if it's not fish or chicken, it's going to be beef, maybe pork, and other, or maybe even seafood as well. So I would say again, just keep trying, but try cutting into different shapes and use different sauces.
Thanks very much, Jaclyn. And to all your questions, folks, there were 94 questions submitted through the Q&A function. Good job, everybody. Of course, I can't ask all 94. Unfortunately, we don't have the time to answer all 94, but we'll definitely, we have all your questions, and we'll try and get as many of them answered. And we try to ask as many as possible during the Q&A segment there as well. So if we didn't get to yours, I apologize, but thank you for the 94 questions that have come through. Fantastic stuff there. And I appreciate the expertise of Eric and Jaclyn in addressing them. Thank you, everybody. But you know what? Something I'm picking up on. Lots of you guys are asking questions about immunity. And I've got something pretty fun lined up for you guys next as well. If you're interested in boosting your child's immunity and brain development, check this out. There's a limited offer from GSK that's in line with that idea of immunity and brain development. All you have to do is scan this QR code right now. I know it might be hard for you to do the scan and click on the link right now. Just take a photo right now. take a photo of that QR code, and then you can scan that QR code later as well. But that's something that you can check out for your child's immunity and brain development. Have fun with that, alrighty? Thank you so much to everyone for joining us at today's webinar. And if you scan this new QR code that you see pop up on your screen right now, the first 150 attendees to scan this will receive that goodie bag. It's just like attending those real seminars in the pre-COVID times. Remember, you would go into a hotel ballroom, then on your way out, we passed you these lovely goodie bags, but we found a way to do it virtually in this way as well. So scan this QR code and you get that goodie bag as well for exclusive Singapore Parenting Festival merchandise there. While stocks last only. Thank you so much to our platinum partners. Singapore Parenting Festival 2022 is proudly presented to you by MediaCorp and the Asian Parent, and the festival is made possible through these key partners: Hydroflux, Yuyan-Sang, our platinum partners, our gold partners, Dumex, Scott's, Sparkle Tots, Nature One Dairy, and our silver partners, Ministry of Health Singapore, Baby Dove, Virtus Fertility Centre, and Prudential, as well as our content partners, Centre for Fathering, Mums for Life, Dads for Life, Baby Pass, and Families for Life. Now, in case you think I forgot, I didn't. We've got, of course, the $50 shopping vouchers to give away on Shopee. Congratulations to these 5 individuals: Angela Singh, Varda Agrawal, Pearly Cheng, Sabrina So, Linda Sationo, and Siti Nabila. Folks, if your name is one of these 6, here's what I want you to do, okay? Email this email address, campaign@tickledmedia.com, with your personal details, your name, your contact number, within 3 working days, and you'll be able to claim your prize. So once again, that's for Angela Singh, Varda Agrawal, Pearly Cheng, Sabrina So, Linda Sationo, and Siti Nabila. Don't cheat. If your name is not there, don't email also and say I was one of the winners. Please don't. You can see right there, the 6 names are there. So email campaign@tickledmedia right now. Thank you so much, everybody, for all your time and participation today. I've got something pretty exciting for you to check out as well. Our next webinar is happening tomorrow, the 1st of March, that's Tuesday, at 7:30 p.m. and it's called Living Through a Pandemic: How Do You Protect Your Family? Some of the speakers include Associate Professor Raymond Chua, who's Deputy Director of Medical Services at the Ministry of Health, along with Dr. Chan Si Min, who's from the Division of Pediatric Infectious Diseases at Khoo Teck Puat National University Children's Medical Institute, NUH, and Professor Vernon Lee, who's Senior Director from the Communicable Diseases Division at the Ministry of Health. I know so many people are worried right now, parents like you, about their children in particular. Maybe you have some childhood vaccination questions, or you're worried about the transmission of COVID within the household. These are options for you to ask and learn from the experts. So that's tomorrow, 1st March, Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. It's called Living Through a Pandemic, and you can sign up right now, once again, by scanning this QR code. Just take photo first now. I know very hard to scan everything. Just take photo first, and then you can sign up and register. Of course, you can head to SPF2022.theasianparent.com for all the details. Jaclyn, Eric, what a great session. Thank you so much to the both of you for your wonderful contributions, tips, and advice for all our viewers. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the session. My name is Daniel Martin from CN8 938 and from Body and Soul on Channel 5. Here's wishing you the best of health always, everybody. Take care. Thank you for all your comments and questions. Stay safe, stay healthy. Bye, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.